Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Coaches Huddle. I am Coach Schaefer.
And I am Coach Hilton.
And ladies and gentlemen, get ready for a whole line of topics on this, our show, called the Coaches Huddle. Let's get it, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, while my co-host steps on offside to turn off the music, we'll get set up for everything. Just give us a moment. I hope you guys had a enjoyable weekend, by the way. I had a good one, got my truck fixed, and got to hang out with some people that I didn't hang out with for a long time. By the way, I know you're probably going to hate it, the work week starts tomorrow. It's Monday. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, our first topic tonight is SEC dominance. Is it good for the sport? And I will let Coach Hillsman be the first one to go off on this one. Alright, Coach, let it all out.
Thank you, Coach Schaefer. I believe that the SEC dominance is good for the sport. It's good for the sport because you have to have teams to be a stepping stone for the sport. Because without the SEC, what would this sport be like? It could fall. There could be many more conferences like the WAC, the MAC, with one good team
or the Big East.
Or the Big East.
That is falling apart.
That is falling apart now. And we have one great superstar team, one juggernaut in it, and it could just fall apart.
Or it could be like the ACC and be really top-heavy with Florida State and Clemson in one division and Virginia Tech.
Yes.
And very top-heavy, just 3 teams.
Yes, I agree. I agree very much.
Is that all you got for it, or you got any more?
I mean, because you also have to think, Vanderbilt and Kentucky are at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason Kentucky is in there is because of basketball.
And they needed a market, too.
Yes, and they needed a market, too. Basketball brings the SEC up as well as football.
Yeah.
Because football is up there, but when it comes to basketball, the ACC is the more dominant in the sport.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. My view on the SEC is I believe the dominance is good. It kind of challenges other conferences to get in line and kind of use the SEC as a guideline on how to build a dominant program. I mean, you take Nick Saban taking over in 06 or 07 and turning an Alabama team completely around, and now look at Alabama. You got 3 national championships in 4 years. You have 7 national championships by the SEC. 7. And, you just look at it overall. I think the SEC brings kind of an edge to other conferences, okay? And it kind of gives you that thing for other conferences, and the SEC has this, and they can say this, all right, if you think you're better than us, then beat us. And most of the time, most teams can't beat the SEC, and I think that kind of challenges every other conference to get better, hire better coaching, and do better on their recruiting, because now people are starting to look at how the SEC is doing and saying, okay, well, why isn't, let's take Florida State, for example.
Yes.
Let's take Clemson, or, Virginia Tech at some stances as well. All of these teams have managed to fall flat on their face, at building up or, being able to keep up the reputation that they have. Being able to take those high goals and at least finish them, which Florida State didn't do this year. Everybody knows that. Florida State fell flat on their face, and they had high expectations. So I feel the SEC is a good thing, and I think they should continue to be a good thing as well.
Yes, I agree. But to go on your statement of falling flat on their face, they get back up, though. The only thing the SEC really doesn't do is fall on their face.
Yeah.
Every other team has obstacles in their way. Other conferences have obstacles in their way where they have to overcome. They fall on their face, but they build back up to get there. But then the following season is when everything starts dwindling down.
Yeah. I think the problem at most of the ACC schools, when it comes, if you look at player development in the SEC, player development is a lot better than the ACC. It's a lot better than any other conference.
Yes.
I mean, you put it this way. Will Muschamp, I'm going to use Florida State again. Will Muschamp went into Doak Campbell with a less talented team than Florida State, and they manhandled the Noles. They completely outmanned a Florida State team the entire game, and it honestly seemed like boys facing men, in my opinion. Player development in the SEC right now is beyond describable. Watching those kids play is like watching the NFL almost, in my opinion.
And some teams in the SEC are even better than some teams in the NFL. In my opinion, that is.
Yeah.
I mean, but I think it's the money standpoint of the SEC that helps out, and the determination, because the SEC hands out a lot of potential athletes.
Yeah.
I mean, other teams do too, but not the whole entire conference.
Yeah.
12 teams in the SEC?
I believe so, yes. 12 teams.
And at least 10 of them, and this upcoming draft,
Yeah.
will have at least 3 players coming out
Yeah.
in the top 5 rounds.
Yeah, that is true. They have a lot of players going in the top 5, top 10. Most of them coming in the first through third rounds. That's something that probably hasn't been achieved in a long time by any team.
Yes, any conference.
Or any conference, for that matter. So I'm telling you, they really know how to coach them up over there in the SEC. I'm telling you.
Do. Whatever pep talk they give, they do an outstanding job at it.
Especially on Nick Saban. I don't know what he does to his kids, but I mean, it just seems like kind of one will go down. All right, it's fine. We got another one. Just go in there, do your job. It'll be good. Goes in there, dominates. He goes down. Third one. All right, good. We're good. Got another 5-star behind him.
Well, I mean, Alabama is shaping up to be like, I do not remember the name. It's a D3 college. They have won 10 championship games. 10 rings within 20 years. In the last 5 years, I believe they've been, last 10 years, I believe they've been undefeated. So none of these kids exactly know what a loss feels like. They just know it's winning. Their coach says, when they tell the players when he calls, would you like to win a ring?
We're going to put it on hold really fast. We have an airplane flying by. Respect the Air Force. Love our military.
Support the troops.
I continue for children.
But, would you like to win a ring? I mean, they struggled some, but they end up pulling it out in the end. Like Alabama. They struggle. I don't like Alabama, personally, because I don't like Nick Saban. But they do a great job there. They struggle.
Oh, yeah.
They struggle sometimes, but they bounce right back. They get back on top and keep on fighting.
Yes, they do. And as the whole thing says, is roll, tide, roll. I'm not much an Alabama person myself. My grandpa was, my cousin is. But, I'll root for them occasionally, especially if it's against Florida or something like that. Somebody that I don't like. But, I have to admire what Nick Saban has put together at Alabama. It just seems like they're head and heels above everybody else.
Yes, I agree.
And my point was proven in that Notre Dame game when they did a complete hospital job on Notre Dame. That was rather embarrassing.
Yes. But let's go over to the independent conference. The 3 teams are independent. Notre Dame plays teams out of the Pac-12, the Big Ten, and I believe the ACC. Or is it the Big 12?
I think it's Big 12. I don't think
Big
they've
12.
played. Well, now with the new rotation, they'll be playing ACC teams along with it.
I think they should get the independents and do a 3 best conferences. That's what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
And I think Notre Dame should add more SEC teams into their schedule.
Yeah.
So they become basically an SEC team and help other teams out along the way.
Yeah. That's a good point. I think every team, honestly, if they want to be the best, they need to play the best. So right now, if any team wants to go to national championship, they need to put an SEC team as an out-of-conference game. I know a lot of people will be like, well, we don't need that out-of-conference game. We already got a tough enough schedule as it is. Well, take off that Division II team and put on an SEC team or take off somebody that's out of your conference. I don't care if it's a rival or not. Play an SEC team, experience what the best conference has to offer in football, and go from there. Build your program as such. Play an SEC team every year. Therefore, you can measure yourself, compared to that conference. I mean, that's a good conference to measure yourself off of.
I don't think you should take out the rivals because rivalry runs deep.
Yeah, rivalries run deep, yes.
But if they are out of your conference, keep them in your conference. But as you said, take out that Division II team that you have to pay to come to your school. And sometimes those Division II teams, because the team tries to overlook them and look to next week, they end up slipping and falling, like Michigan and Appalachian State.
Yeah, that one
a few years ago.
That one was interesting.
Very interesting.
And I know now there are a lot of people who say, well, nobody wants to come out and play us. There are 120 teams, if I'm not mistaken, in the NCAA. There are 120.
Division I
teams in the NCAA. Offer something to all 120. Play a Division I team. Don't go down and play Division II. I harp on my Noles for them playing Division II teams. Yes, I'm a Florida State fan. I don't agree with them to playing Division II teams. I feel they should go out and get the best and play the best to become the best.
I agree. But on to the next topic.
Which, ladies and gentlemen?
The Big Three in Florida. Florida State, University of Florida, and Miami. How do you think they will become over the next 4 years?
We'll start with the closest one to where we live. We'll start with Tallahassee.
Tallahassee, Florida State.
Florida State in this offseason has lost, well, even before the offseason, has lost 6 coaching staff, 6 from their coaching staff. They had an offensive coordinator go to our rival in Miami. That was a slap in the face. And for me, honestly, I think it was because Jimbo Fisher wouldn't surrender his play calling. Because Jimbo Fisher treats his playbook like his baby, and he doesn't want anybody else calling the plays. Which I can't argue with him because he has won a national championship at LSU. But as of right now, he tends to choke out games like he did at NC State. Like he almost did at Virginia Tech. But luckily, we got away with that one.
And Georgia Tech.
And Georgia Tech. Almost choked that away, too. But I like the people he's brought in. He brought in Jeremy Pruitt from Alabama. He coached their secondary. And I forget what else he did. I think he did some play calling, too, I believe. He also brought in Sal Sunseri, which was also Alabama's defensive coordinator whenever they did win their first national championship. But he was at Tennessee. They brought in a guy from Georgia Tech who was their linebackers coach. I cannot remember his name for the life of me. They brought in another guy. I can't remember what college he's from, but he's a very young coach, and he is going to be their defensive ends coach. And from what I hear, he is a great recruiter, and he also knows how to coach kids up. But over 4 years, I think next year they'll have kind of a fall-off year because you got to adjust to the new defensive coordinator and adjust yourself to all the new things. And I don't know how the recruiting class is going. I think they've lost a few due to all the coaching changes and stuff like that.
They're not a stability.
They're not a stable program right now. And recruits, high school kids are going, they're losing 6 people. James Coley, who recruited me, is off to Miami. I might want to go to Miami. I know that we did manage to pull, whenever Jeremy Pruitt came to Florida State, we did manage to pull a 4-star defensive end from Alabama because he had such a close connection. So I kind of wonder, and I kind of get that sense that maybe if those recruits, if they were not committed to Florida State, if they were like, okay, well, I'm only going because I have a good relationship with James Coley or whoever, recruited them. I feel that if they had that kind of relationship, that they would go to the colleges that those following coaches went to. That's just my opinion on it. What do you think on Florida State?
I mean, I agree. If some kids get, when they talk to the coaches or to their skills coach, like wide receivers or whatnot, that when they see the coach leave, they don't really care about the school itself.
Yeah.
They just care how the coach talked to them, how he treated them.
Yeah.
And he doesn't know exactly who the receiver coach will be the next year.
Yeah.
Or how his
reaction, or
his
not reaction, but his
treatment.
Yeah, treatment.
Treatment will be. Like, so I mean, I don't blame them.
Yeah.
I don't blame them.
them either.
Follow who treats you best.
Follow who you're comfortable with.
Yes, who you're comfortable with. I mean, I think Florida State is going to fall just because, as you said, they have to build back up. But I think when they build back up, they're going to be better than this year.
Yeah.
Because Jimbo Fisher might say, all right, I'm not going to call every play this year.
Yeah.
I'm going to rely on my offense coordinator, my defense coordinator, guys who we pay to do the play calling.
Yeah.
So,
which I mean, and I'll be honest with you, with what Jimbo Fisher's doing, hiring SEC people, I think he's getting himself ready. I honestly, and this is just my opinion, I know people might not agree with me, but I honestly think that when it comes down to it, because the SEC is looking to expand in 2016, yes. I think the two teams that they want to pick up are Florida State and Clemson. And I think adding SEC people to it will just help him bolster the talent at Florida State and maybe be able to compete with Alabama. Maybe to be able to compete with Florida. I mean, Florida, that was mighty impressive defensively by Florida, but maybe he'll be able to compete with those higher echelon SEC teams.
Yes, I agree. But they have to keep it up for the next 3 years now.
Yeah, now they just gotta pick it up.
Yes. But we move on to Florida, University of Florida. I believe they have fallen already. I mean, they had Tim Tebow and they fell in the year prior, and then they stepped it back up, and then they stepped it even higher this year.
Yeah.
They've fallen again, but the thing I give to them, they are a very young team. There are not many seniors leaving their team this year.
Yeah.
So they want to have the skill and the chemistry to work together throughout next year.
Yeah.
That bowl game at the end of the season against Louisville, which they got dominated, and I was kind of surprised. I was really surprised. I mean, nothing against Louisville. They were a great team. They played. Yeah. They were the better team that night.
They played lights out that night.
They did, but I don't know what Florida's problem was that game. They seemed like they wanted to be over with the season.
When I watched it, I think because of where Florida thought they could be, I mean, they felt that they were a national championship team. I mean, and if you look at their schedule, the toughest schedule in the nation, and you only have one loss, which finishing Blues have two, but ending the regular season with one loss, with the toughest schedule in college football, that's impressive.
It is.
I mean, and the way they felt is, okay, we have the toughest schedule in the nation. We beat 4 top 10 teams, or 5, I can't remember how many. We beat 4 or 5 top 10 teams. We should be in there. We lost one game by a touchdown to Georgia.
Yes.
We should be in there over Notre Dame because Notre Dame hasn't played a tougher schedule than us.
Or even Alabama, because Alabama had a pretty weak schedule this year.
And they lost to Texas A&M at home.
And that took some morale with them, which they almost lost to Georgia in the SEC championship game. But it was on a mess up communication,
the coaching staff and everything else, not spiking the ball.
Yes.
But I honestly think next season, and I just think because the only thing that's happened really is they lost their defensive coordinator.
Yes.
They have a top 5 recruiting class right now. I think they're sitting number 2 actually behind Notre Dame.
Yes.
But they have a whole lot of talent returning and a whole lot more talent coming in. And I just think Jeff Driscoll is going to get better. I mean, Jeff Driscoll coming in was a number 1 quarterback. Coming in, and he was a great talent. And that showed during the season with his running ability. Wasn't that good of a passer, but he'll get better at that. And I just feel the next season, they're not losing that many people off defense. And their defense was dominant. Except for that Louisville game where they just showed up flat and laid an egg.
Yes.
But I honestly feel that next season, Will Muschamp will get everything under control. He'll get his team, and now that we've experienced, that type of a loss, I think they'll come back and they'll make some real noise at a national championship. And I think because of how some of the teams laying out, LSU losing a lot of people, Georgia losing some of their people off defense, I honestly feel that Florida will make that national title run, and they will most likely get in it if they can beat Alabama. And I think just because honestly, this is just my opinion, I honestly believe that Florida's defense at the height was a lot better than Alabama's.
I mean, I agree. Because Alabama's defense, sometimes they played lazy, but the offense helped get them back in the game. That's the only problem Florida didn't have. Their defense played superior, but their offense wasn't clicking all the time.
Not at all.
As Alabama's defense did, or offense did.
Yeah.
So
I agree with that. All right, we're going to go on to our next school.
University of Miami.
The U. What do you think Miami is going to do over the next 4 years?
It depends how the NCAA reacts to them on their investigation that's undergoing.
Well, I agree with that. Definitely agree, because that NCAA investigation, I mean, it can hark some things like Penn State. I mean, it probably won't be as bad as Penn State, but, I mean, it could hark some things. We just don't know.
Because they were predicting that Miami would get the death penalty, and that hurts. That hurts the school. That basically kills and smothers the school out.
Yeah.
Up until they get from under the death penalty.
Yeah.
Miami relinquished their two bowl games in the last 2 seasons that they could have gone to. So they're trying to do self-discipline. I mean, which they should have done earlier.
Yeah, they should have did that earlier.
So this whole thing wouldn't have occurred. But yeah, they have, as you said, they have a defensive coordinator coming in. Offensive coordinator coming in from Florida State. So they have some pretty good people coming in. Yeah, they have pretty good people. They have a few good recruits coming in.
And James Coley, James Coley was the main recruiter at Florida State. And he gave Florida State, top 5 recruiting classes when he was there. Top 5. So, I mean, and this whole thing of Jimbo Fisher losing like this is like a big blow to Florida State. Miami is gaining one of the top recruiters in the country. I mean, this guy, Timmy Jernigan, Bjorn Warner, everybody knows what happened to the Germinator over there. I mean, he became a superstar.
Basically overnight.
Overnight, pretty much, from Germany. And then, you have a whole bunch of other talent at Florida State. LaMarcus Joyner, who, they feel whenever after a senior, be a top 5 pick.
Yes.
I mean, just got a whole plethora of talent just sitting there. And even Mario Edwards Jr., the number 1 defensive end last season coming in recruiting, he just brings in the talent. He kind of reminds me of Nick Saban, almost when it comes to recruiting. But, I don't know, Nick Saban had a little bit more edge to it. He can just pull the higher star people and get them in there.
He just shows them his rings, and they just
come look at that. See us 1, 2, 3.
Planning on making it 4. But, yeah, I think Miami, it depends all on the NCAA investigation. If they don't get the death penalty, they'll do much better than they did. I mean, they didn't do bad this year. I mean, but you're not going your coaching staff has already let you know that if you make bowl eligibility, that you will not be going.
Yeah.
Because of self-discipline of what happened the years prior.
Yeah. Which, this season, I have to admit that I was impressed with Al Golden. When Florida State went down there and played them, that's one of the games I watched. I was impressed. I mean, that was some hard-hitting, helmet-to-chin football going on. And, I honestly thought they were going to lose. I was worried. And I feel that now that you got somebody who can recruit,
yes,
and dependent on the NCAA's investigation, what they do to Miami, I think Miami, I know a lot of Miami fans will be excited, but I think the U will eventually rise back up, and then you'll have 3 Florida powers that'll be able to contend for national championship.
Like they did back in the 80s.
In the 80s and 90s and all those years.
When they had all the pros that are in now, Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, Andre Johnson.
All of them people.
Just to name a few.
And oh Lord, what was that running back that was in Miami? I can't remember his name forever. I know he was in Miami. We'll get back to that one. We both can't think of it. All right, I'll give you my opinion on Miami.
Go ahead.
I believe that if the NCAA does not, go come down with golden hammer on Miami will become a dominant team.
Yes, I agree.
Because they have the recruits, they have the talent there already. Duke Johnson, He's going to be a fierce running back. He is going to be fierce.
Yeah.
I think that if they don't come down too hard on Miami, which, the self-discipline thing, I think the NCAA will be like, well, they're self-disciplining themselves. Maybe, we'll give them about a 2-year goal.
Yes, we respect them for that.
I feel that if Miami doesn't get the death penalty and, doesn't have that bad of a, hammer coming down on them, that Miami will eventually return to dominance in Florida.
Yeah.
So, because now you have James Coley, who lived in Miami, who knows Miami, has good relationships with all those recruits, and everybody knows what type of recruits are in Florida. Ridiculous recruits. I mean, speed kills, and that's where speed comes from, is down in South Florida.
Yep.
Now, James Coley can recruit Miami, because that's where Florida State got a lot of their talent from, was down there in Miami. And that's, knowing that Florida State lost an offensive coordinator that can recruit Miami that well, I'm worried. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to do our next topic, and it is South Carolina and Steve Spurrier's future.
Coach Schaefer, as you already know, I am a South Carolina fan. I think I not have a biased opinion on this.
Yeah.
But I think over the next 2 years, depending on if Jadeveon Clowney stays or not,
Yeah.
that has a big
Definitely.
effect. That they might actually get into the top 3 once again, and actually hold the top 3.
Yeah.
And maybe win the SEC and meet Alabama in a national SEC championship game.
Yeah.
It might have a chance for a national contender.
Yeah. I agree with that wholeheartedly on some ends. I mean, South Carolina, with Steve Spurrier as well, has had that thing. They kind of pull the Florida State.
Yes.
They get in the game and they lay an egg.
Yes, and they do. But most of this year, they laid the egg, but then they went back and grabbed it.
Yeah.
And recuperated.
Yeah.
Because the other team thought, oh, we have them here, we have them now, and then they laid the egg.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, the thing I look at with South Carolina is that road game at Florida.
yes. It was, I agree, it was.
I told my brother that Florida was going to stomp South Carolina on the ground. I didn't think South Carolina was a good team. And my brother disagreed. He said that Florida was going to get stomped in the ground. Yeah. So, I think if South Carolina can, get their recruits in, which I think they have a pretty good recruiting class right now, I believe that I think Steve Spurrier's going to get to that age where his coaching isn't as good as it used to be.
Yeah.
And I think that's why they keep laying that egg. And I just think that if they can get over laying that egg, they can get over the hump of laying the egg, I think South Carolina can be one of the best teams in the SEC. I think that they can beat Alabama head-to-head because they have the talent on defense. Jadeveon Clowney, he's a monster at defensive end.
And they predict that he will get even bigger, faster, and stronger.
And that's just scary.
That is scary.
I feel bad for opposing quarterbacks.
I do too.
I mean, especially after watching that hit on, I think it was Denard Robinson. Was it Denard Robinson?
It wasn't Denard. It was their running back.
After watching that hit, I
felt bad for him.
I honestly was like, well, that's why I stopped playing football right there. Because of people like him.
And if you have not seen the hit, you can look on YouTube and Jadeveon Clowney hit on Michigan running back.
Or Jadeveon Clowney destroys, beheads, and otherwise sends a kid to the hospital. Because I'm pretty sure that's what happened.
And then picks up the fumble and runs for a few yards. One-handedly picks up the fumble.
The thing was, and I thought it was so funny, was that before that play, they didn't give South Carolina the first down. And it was literally that. You could see the ball.
Right in front of South Carolina's sideline.
And I think the thing, it was Jadeveon Clowney was like, all right, not going to give me the ball, huh? Well, let me show you what's going to happen next play.
He said, I will get the ball myself.
I already know what's coming. Let me break through that line. I'm going to hammer you down, and you're gone. Thank you, ball. South Carolina Gamecocks.
Yes. But I see a few downfalls with South Carolina. One, they're losing their star receiver, star returner, Ace Sanders.
Yeah, and they lose Marcus Lattimore.
Yes, and Marcus Lattimore, because of his knee injury, he said he would like to go to the draft and make some money off of getting hit instead of just
going back to college and risking getting re-injured.
Yes, and paying the medical bill.
Yeah.
The huge medical bill at that.
But that's completely understandable.
Yes, I mean, I understand it for that reason. But Ace Sanders, his breakneck speeds, his elusiveness, stop on a dime, jukes, I just think South Carolina is going to miss that a lot.
Yeah.
Touchdowns.
Also losing a quarterback, Hunter Shaw.
Yes.
So what's going to happen quarterback-wise for South Carolina? I wonder about that one.
Yeah, their backup quarterback's pretty good.
Yeah,
their backup quarterback is pretty good.
He showed flashes against Clemson
and LSU.
But Clemson, their defense wasn't that good.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, they were able to hold LSU, but LSU is a prominent running team, and Zach Mettenberger, you know, he showed flashes against Alabama, and I honestly thought they were going to win, but when it came down to it, the secondary for Clemson is it's kind of laughable. It's not that good.
Yeah, I mean, but you have to give him his credit.
Yeah.
He read some of those. He read the blitzes were good. He audibled into runs. Let Marcus Lattimore run through him.
Not Marcus Lattimore. It was secondary running back, second string. Marcus Lattimore was out for the entire season.
That's right. The week before they played Tennessee.
Yeah.
Yes. Bruce Ellington. That's his name. Bruce Ellington. All right. The basketball star, football star.
Dual sports kids, athletes. College kids are ridiculous. Athletes are crazy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move on to the next topic. Another favorite for Coach Hillsman over here. Michigan. Post Denard Robinson. What do you think is going to happen?
I think the offense is going to slow down just a tad, because Gardner.
Yeah, Gardner.
He is almost as fast, if not faster, than Denard Robinson.
Yeah.
And he has one more year. He has one more year, and he's staying around, and that will be the determining factor right there, because it's not like the scrambling is going to stop at all.
Yeah.
Scrambling's going to still be there, still going to be a factor.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to have you, if you want to try to contain him, he's going to throw it long.
Yeah.
If you want to try to step back, he's going to scramble around.
Yeah.
If you want to send a blitz, he will scramble or hand it off.
Yeah. Doing the read options.
Yes.
And I agree with you. I think that Michigan will kind of slow down a little bit, because Denard Robinson was just kind of just that dynamic player that you had out there. You can play receiver, running back, quarterback, probably go out and play linebacker if he wanted to.
Yes.
But I honestly think that they'll slow down a little bit in their defense, which is one thing that needs to improve. Even though the Big Ten wasn't that good this year, they need to improve on it.
Yeah.
Because if you're wanting to do that national championship, if you're wanting to win your conference, your defense needs to improve a little bit better. I mean, I got to watch them against South Carolina, and it just kind of seemed that sometimes that they just kind of was like, well,
yeah, it's like they just gave it in. I mean, but they fought back. They fought back really well. But South Carolina's defense wasn't exactly all there. I mean, they was all there, but it's not like that. Sometimes, as you said about Michigan's defense, they were like, I could care less sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Both defenses played outstanding.
Yeah.
But the quarterbacks and running backs and receivers, they just did numbers.
Yeah. They did a wonderful job. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to next one.
Lane Kiffin and USC.
Yes.
Ooh.
Now, Lane Kiffin. Now, let's go ahead and get into this one, because this one is a hard thing to get in. Now, last season. Preseason number 1. Lane Kiffin had Matt Barkley, which, you know me, I didn't think that they were the best team in the country. I raised Cain about it.
I didn't think they were necessarily the best team in the country either. I thought they deserved to be in the top 25.
Yeah.
But I didn't necessarily think they should be number 1. They maybe the top 10 at most.
Yeah.
But I think because of the ban from the Reggie Bush thing,
Yeah.
that when they came back, people thought they were going to be the same USC that was banned 4 years ago. But
they were just getting off their violations and stuff. You know, I guess, and this is why I don't like media. Media likes to rev them up.
Yeah.
They say, okay, they got Matt Barkley. They're going to do it this year. They beat Oregon.
Yes.
They can do it this year. They're going to go for national championship. They got a Heisman, trophy candidate and all that good stuff. But then you just see them. You get to watch them against the teams that they lost, and it just seems like they weren't even the team that needs to be in the top 5. They didn't even be in the top 25.
The 6, no.
And then you see them at the bowl game.
6 teams that lost. They lost to them. And you would think USC losing 6 games? Impossible.
Yeah.
But no, they didn't show up to play. I mean, their defense wasn't really all there.
Yeah.
I mean, because I wouldn't want to go to a school that had a ban on them.
Yeah.
And you
that's why
coming
a lot
in,
of people jump ship to Penn State. And,
yeah. But the 2 receivers, Lee and Woods, they were amazing.
So they were.
They were both head to head. I believe at the end of the season, number 4 and 5 in the Heisman.
Marquise Lee broke records.
Yes, he did.
NCAA records. Actually, like this last season, broke records and straight up broke them. Okay. Yeah.
But the rest of the team wasn't there. I mean, you need defense to hold to win games.
That bowl game, and I'll be honest with you, I had a feeling that Georgia Tech would win because of how terrible USC was at stopping the run. And you're facing the triple option. I
think it was more than just that, because the bowl game, USC they talk bad about the Sun Bowl.
Yeah.
Which, if you get a bowl game, you're supposed to be thankful. You're supposed to be grateful. Because USC, truly and honestly, I didn't feel they should have a bowl game. I think Louisiana Tech, 93 team,
should have went to that bowl game.
Should have went to the bowl game over a 7-6 team.
Yeah. And that was just like that NIU.
NIU, I think that they just wanted, because they had a great season.
Yeah, they had a great. I'm not denouncing their season. They had a good season.
I didn't think they should get
a BCS bid.
I mean, you have to think about the other teams that were out there.
Yeah.
There was no really other team that you could really put it in there.
Oklahoma was a runner-up. I mean, Oklahoma, they shared it with, I forget who won their car, Kansas State. They shared it with Kansas State. I mean,
but with Oklahoma in their bowl game, they didn't do.
Well, that's because they're facing Johnny Football himself. Barely anybody can stop him.
You're correct about that.
Hike the ball and let him run 100 yards. He'll get a touchdown somehow, whether he passes it or runs it or hands it off to somebody. But I mean, and I used to Penn State to do what they were supposed to do. But my question for USC: what's going to happen to Lane Kiffin? I mean, I don't think, since he took another program, I don't think he's done a good job. I don't
think he's done a great job either.
He's done an okay. He's done what a mediocre coach would do.
Yeah, and he was supposed to be one of the greatest coaches in the sport.
You take what he did at Tennessee, and he did a pretty good job at Tennessee.
He did it, yeah.
I think the reason why at Tennessee he did such a good job is because he had better talent at Tennessee than he did there at USC.
I mean, don't get USC wrong.
Yeah.
USC brings in talent. It's like they're a magnet.
Yeah.
Like they're a talent magnet. Like this year, in the top 100, they have 12 recruits.
Yeah, they have 12 recruits
out of the top 100. Yeah, that is amazing. Teams are lucky to get 12 recruits overall.
Except if you're Alabama.
Except if you're Alabama or in the SEC. But yeah, and then they bashed. By them bashing the Sun Bowl, that didn't really help out at all. Then they bashed Georgia Tech by not showing up to the team dinner.
Yeah.
They showed up 45 minutes late.
Shame.
And then Georgia Tech just said, heck with it. We're going to just go back to the hotel.
Yeah.
They left. USC got there. They left. And then Georgia Tech was like, we don't even want this anymore. We're going to try to embarrass USC, which they did.
21-7.
Yes, and they came to play.
Oh yeah, I was shocked by that score. I'll be honest with you. I looked at my phone and I was like, Georgia Tech 21-7. You're joking, right? This is USC. Hold on a minute. 20. Wow, that's all I had to say. I was just.
I mean, and afterwards in the locker room, fighting with your own teammates because somebody decided he wanted to question the abilities of Matt Barkley. So and the senior class, so they want to get all defensive about it. I mean, but the media was questioning them. The media was questioning them as it already was. Because Matt Barkley gets hurt. He doesn't play against Notre Dame.
And they still almost beat Notre Dame.
Yes. And then he doesn't play in the Sun Bowl, which is like almost 4 weeks away. I mean, he must have been badly injured. I don't understand questioning him on his ability. It was his shoulder. It was separated shoulder.
Yeah.
I don't think you should question on his injury. I mean, obviously, if he knew this was his last game too.
Yeah.
Last game of college playing at USC Trojan ever. Yeah. So I don't think the kid should have questioned his ability.
Nope.
Maybe the senior class, yes, because the senior class seemed like they were too cocky this year.
Yeah.
Too cocky.
I think it's because of that preseason rating.
Yes.
It's like, yeah, we got this.
And, I mean, cause they were freshmen when the bell was put on.
Yeah.
And so they thought they were going to be the ones to bring USC back into everything. Yeah. Well, obviously they weren't. USC, I don't see them being in the top 25, top 30, top 40 starting at the beginning of the next preseason.
I feel Lane Kiffin is going to go. I think he's on the hot seat next season.
Yes.
I think that if he goes below 500 or if he's one win above 500, that he will go. Because, in my opinion, and I know people will be like, well, he hasn't had that long. They just got their violations. Al Golden did a better job at Miami, and Miami has had to deal with a lot of crap. Randy Shannon getting out and then just hurrying up and bringing in Al Golden.
Yes.
You know, and Al Golden didn't do that bad of a job.
Yeah.
He's not doing a bad job like Lane Kiffin is. Lane Kiffin is doing a terrible job.
I mean, even as much as I hate to say this, Ohio State University with the Buckeyes.
I mean, Urban
Meyer came in 12-0. First year. They were on the ban. I think the NCAA should have put more of a ban on them, but they felt how they did last season. They're like, we don't want to hurt this program too much to where they just fall out and they break apart and dismantle.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking, Ohio State showed NCAA, hey, you should have put us on more.
Yeah.
Now they're ready next year. But the only thing I have to say about Ohio State, they actually have to prove it next year.
Yeah.
Have to prove it next year. That's your off the ban. People saying, oh, we're 12-0, we're 12-0.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're 12-0. What bowl game did you get? They sat at home.
They sat at home the entire bowl season. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to do a quick one on this one. Nick Saban to NFL. Yes or no? Do you think he'll go?
I don't think he will go in the next 2 seasons, but I think he will eventually head back to the NFL.
I agree. He's not going to go because Nick Saban is one of those power mongers. He wants to have everything under his control.
Yes.
And I think that right now, no NFL team is going to be like, okay, Nick Saban, you can have everything under control. No one's going to want to do that, but I think eventually he'll head into it.
Next topic. The Horrible. The Super Bowl. Whatever you might like to call it. The Super Bowl. Ravens.
Super Mario Balls.
The Super Bowl. Ravens versus 49ers.
I got the Ravens.
I have a feeling that it's going to be a close fight. I have the 49ers. As much as I want to see Ray Lewis win another one before he retires, because it'll be the ultimate Cinderella story.
Yeah.
I have the 49ers winning. It's going to be a close game. The brothers going to play their hearts out because, I mean, they want each other to win, but they want themselves to win even more. I mean, and just rub it in.
If old Jim Harbaugh wins, he'll be screaming, "I want cake now!" Oh Lord, I got the Ravens winning. I honestly think just because of what their defense did in New England to Tom Brady and that offense. I mean, I know a lot of people will say, "Well, Tom Brady didn't have the talent on offense." He's got the talent. I mean, I just felt that night the Ravens just came in and they were like, "All right, it's our time. We've been here last year. We lost. We're gonna get it this year." And there you go. They dominated New England in New England. And I just feel that they'll beat San Francisco, but it won't be by much. I'm thinking between 3 and 7 points. About what I'm guessing.
That's how much I think. Actually, I give 49ers 2 to 5 point spread over Baltimore. The reason I say this is Baltimore's defense did great against passing quarterbacks.
Yeah.
They beat the Broncos. They beat the Colts. They beat the Colts. They beat the Broncos, and they beat New England. They shut down Andrew Luck.
Yeah.
Non-scrambling quarterback.
Yeah.
They shut down Peyton Manning. Non-scrambling quarterback.
Shut down
they
Tom
shut
Brady.
down Tom Brady, who scrambles only if his life depends on it.
And he's like a sloth.
Yes. But, I mean, that run that he did right before the half where he kicked Ed Reed in protection. And, I mean, I give him credit on I like his toughness, but I didn't think the kick was necessary.
Yeah.
But when they play against the 49ers of Colin Kaepernick, he will be running for his life. Let's go over to the NFC with the 49ers.
Yeah.
They played against tough defense. I mean, they had the 1 week bye and everything. They played against the Seahawks. The secondary great, linemen great.
Yeah.
I mean, their defensive line was amazing.
Yeah. Pete Carroll's done an excellent job.
Yes, he has. Then they went against
Matt Ryan. They beat Matt Ryan in ATL.
Yes. And they beat the linebackers, the secondary. I think Atlanta has the best defense in the NFL. Even though they lost, I think they have the best defense in the NFL.
I felt like San Francisco. just because, I mean, if you look at San Francisco's defense, it's kind of like Alabama's. I mean, you get up, you line up, you hit them in the mouth.
Yeah.
That's pretty much how they roll. And the offense, kind of the same way with Frank Gore, except instead of having like an A.J. McCarron type quarterback, you have Colin Kaepernick out of Nevada, who can run, he can pass. I mean, my Lord, he's something to deal with.
I agree, and I think the reason I think Atlanta has the better one, I mean, because really, where can they get better on defense at?
Yeah.
They really can't. It's just that they choke in the last 6 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
And that really hurts teams.
Yeah.
Last 6 minutes, and you want to just give everything up. I mean, you saw it against Seattle. They almost lost.
Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, going on to our next topic. We're going to go ahead and skip a few. We're going to go down to Manti Te'o.
Do you think he was wrong? I mean, have you seen the show Catfish?
No.
I know some of our viewers have seen the show Catfish.
Yeah.
I have just seen the first show Catfish. My brother told me to watch it. I mean, I thought he was innocent first. I mean, he knew slightly that what happened wasn't true after he had contact with his girlfriend. But then 2 days later, he was going to go to the Heisman. Because he says, because he didn't know exactly if that was the reason he was actually a Heisman candidate, because people felt pity for him because losing his grandma and his girlfriend in the same day.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to tell them, and it's like, yes, my grandma died, and thank you for being here, but my girlfriend, however, she didn't die. It was all a hoax.
Yeah.
And then people would think down on him even more.
Yeah.
Because they would think, oh, you just said that so you could get here to this moment, to have this moment.
Agreed.
But he let, I cannot remember her name, on a talk show. It was Kelly.
It's not Kelly Clarkson. I can say that one.
Not Kelly Clarkson, but Kelly something.
We'll just say Kelly. We'll say Kelly.
Yes. And not the WWE superstar.
Yeah, not that one. Don't get excited over there.
But and he let them listen to voicemails.
Yeah.
And if my eyes were closed,
I could see a girl, to be honest.
I would see a girl.
And
you know, she was telling him she arrived at the hospital getting ready for chemotherapy and everything.
Yeah.
And then she called him back after she was released from the hospital the day before she supposedly died.
Yeah.
And she was like, I love you, I'll talk to you later.
Yeah.
I miss you, don't worry about me.
Yeah.
And that was the last time he heard from her.
Yeah.
He was not faking those emotions that he was showing.
Yeah.
There's no way possible you could fake those emotions.
Yeah. Which, you know, in my opinion, if he was host and he didn't know about it, I feel bad for the guy.
I feel bad, because that is a sick joke.
That is. I mean, making some guy fall in love with a girl who isn't real, and then faking that girl's death, along with his grandmother dying, I mean, that's enough to where you want to just be like, well, I just give up. I mean, and if it turns out to where, I mean, a lot of stuff's coming out. People who host him are coming out and saying, all right, yeah, you know, with a hoax, I don't think he knew about it, you know.
Yes.
And
I just think that's just a terrible joke.
It is. It is a very terrible joke on a person, you know, who, you know, seems like a very good person to be around.
Golden Tate, the receiver that's in the NFL now, that came from Notre Dame.
Yeah.
He said he was a very humble. When he left his senior year, Manti Te'o was a freshman.
Yeah.
He said he was a very, very humble guy. He wasn't antisocial or anything like that.
Yeah.
So he doesn't think he made it up himself.
Yeah.
Like he was depressed or anything.
Yeah.
But I just think it was a terrible joke to play.
Oh yeah.
Very. Nobody wants that done to them. I mean, I hope nobody would do that again. They said they pulled the same exact prank on their family members in 2008. Same prank, same life conditions and everything. The accident that occurred, the going to the hospital, to dying of the same cause. That's just terrible. May God have
mercy on merciful souls.
Yes.
All right, next topic, ladies and gentlemen, and this is kind of a fave for a lot of people. We're going to talk about Johnny Football, Johnny Heisman, Johnny Manziel. What do you think he's going to do?
I mean,
he's going to have future success, man.
I mean, you really don't know, because let's go to the NFL. Cam Newton, his rookie season, he had great success.
Yes.
His sophomore season this year, it just fell apart.
And it's that sophomore slump. Everybody talks about sophomore slump.
And when you get there, that's when you know if you can do it or you can't. If he gets to his sophomore year and he makes numbers similar to this year, even if they're just down a little, I think he will have a great success. Great success in college, great success in the NFL.
A great success. Me personally, I think that Johnny Manziel is just one of those type of people that will go out and say, all right, so I did this last year, let me set my goals higher. And let me go out there and beat those goals. And win another Heisman. And then after that, shoot, everybody would call me Johnny 2 Heisman. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go on to the next topic because we're running out of daylight here.
As you can see. We're going to go to Tony Gonzalez. Last possible season in the NFL.
I'll miss him. Great tight end. Outstanding.
I miss him too. I think if he wasn't at Kansas City for as long as he was, he would have run rings. He would have run multiple rings. Because
New England.
I mean, he would have been like Rob Gronkowski.
Yeah. The Gronk. Gronk hungry.
I mean, he would run probably numerous rings.
Yeah.
I mean, because he is a very talented tight end. No linebacker could cover him.
And the funny thing is, a lot of people said that he wouldn't have success coming into the NFL.
Because he was a basketball star in college out of Miami.
And, I mean, you look at him now. I mean,
and look at him.
He's just an excellent tight end, and I appreciate every year that he stays in the NFL.
And a great role model.
Oh, yes. Very outstanding role model. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
For the next topic, the future of Alex Smith and the 49ers.
I think with Colin Kaepernick and how he's succeeded so far, I honestly believe that Alex Smith is going to leave after this season. Because Alex Smith got him to the championship last year, got him to the playoffs, and choked. Colin Kaepernick has played, 9 games?
Yes,
where are they going?
Started 9 games, yeah.
Where are they going?
Only way but up. They're going to the Super Bowl.
They're going to the Super Bowl facing the Ravens. But I mean, I look at it and I was like, well, Colin Kaepernick's 9 games. Okay, you had 2 seasons and you got playoffs and you choked it out twice. And now, with how Colin Kaepernick is succeeding, I'm going to go off a little bit. RG3 succeeding, a lot of people are saying, give Tim Tebow a shot.
Tim Tebow's had a shot.
And he got him to the playoffs.
He got him to Denver. In Denver, he got him to the playoffs. But I don't think it was solely on Tim Tebow. I'm a Denver fan.
Sorry if I'm interrupting.
Yes.
But it's pretty much the same defense as Tim Tebow had. And Peyton Manning lost.
Yeah.
In his first. And it's pretty much the same offense, too. The difference is, I believe, is that when Tim Tebow started, they were already in the negatives. And they traded away the top receiver that the Broncos has. They're like, all right, Tim Tebow. Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
And they're like, all right, Tim Tebow, we're going to give you a shot, but we're going to give away your top receiver. Good luck. And
I mean, the two receivers that are there now, Peyton Manning, as their nickname is Black and Decker.
I got a tool set going on up there in Denver.
Yes, but I mean they're pretty good. They had a mature some. But yeah. Jason, while you go on to the next topic, I'll be right back.
Alrighty. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are getting close to closing it down. Our next topic and our final topic will be Chip Kelly going to the Eagles. Hey, I actually have an idea. Do you have a flashlight on your phone? Just to kind of give us a little better lighting, you know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Just put it right there on top of the laptop. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, we're having a little bit of technical difficulties. We want you to be able to see our faces and where we're at right now. Oh, look at that. Light. Just set it right here. Flip it sideways. Alrighty, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. You can see us again. Alright, our next one, ladies and gentlemen, is Chip Kelly going to the Eagles. What do you feel about that?
I feel if I was an Oregon player and he turns all the teams down in the NFL that was going after him.
Yeah.
And then he decides a few weeks later that he wants to go back to the NFL to a team that he turned down previously. It was either they called him back with a lot of money, or he sees something that's going to go down to Oregon.
Yeah.
That's going to be ugly and that's going to hurt the program.
Yeah, and me, I kind of feel bad for Oregon because Chip Kelly, before the bowl game, was like, I'm not going to go. He pulled a Nick Saban when Nick Saban was at Miami.
Yes.
He pretty much did a Nick Saban and said, I'm not going to leave for the NFL. Don't worry, guys. I'm going to stay here and I'm going to be in Oregon. I'm an Oregon Duck. And then, boom. Philadelphia Eagles right after the bowl game. And it's just, I feel bad for him. And I honestly, I don't know who they're going to get to replace Chip Kelly. I don't know if someone can do the style that Chip Kelly has.
Yeah, that's going to be a very hard thing.
Just, it's really fast. All right. Can I get out of the way so I can see? All right, that's better. All right.
Yeah, that's just my thoughts on it. I don't think anybody's going to be able to do it. Some people are going to come and try to mimic it.
Yeah.
As many college teams are mimicking now, but I don't think it's going to be a success at doing it. So
as much as Chip Kelly had success with it, I just don't think they're going to have the same success that he had at Oregon. And I'm kind of curious to see who they're going to bring in. And, you know, I want to see the Black Mamba. I want to see what they can do with the Black Mamba, because what Chip Kelly did with them, it was great. Seeing what Chip Kelly could do with Oregon, even though they had that little bit of a, you know, laying an egg against Stanford this season.
Yeah.
What he did with Oregon, you know, for the longest time, I don't think Oregon was that dominant of a team. And when Chip Kelly got there, he brought in this new style, gave him this new edge. Like, all right, so if you're going to be able to overpower us, we're going to be able to outrun you. So if you can get through the lines, you got to catch us first.
Yes. But I'm really curious, as you said, about Oregon. But I'm also curious how his play style is going to work in Philadelphia. Will he bring Michael Vick back and get some more?
I think he
will. Some more elusive running backs.
Yeah.
And
might even go after his old running back, Michael James.
Michael James. But I don't think the 49ers is going to be so easy to let him go.
Oh no.
But he might. He will even use Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah.
He might even use him as a running back, or
you could put Deshaun Jackson anywhere and he just outrun everybody.
Outrun everybody.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to close down the shop. I'll let Romello take it over from here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, sir. Thank you again for tuning in with us on our YouTube channel. Please like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter, and
also make a little love to that like button.
Coach Schaefer's favorite quote is down there. Please subscribe to our channel, please. All the views are much appreciated. And this,
ladies and gentlemen,
the Coaches Huddle.
Have a great night and a great work week.
And we will see y'all next week. And tuning out, Coach Hillsman.
And I am Coach Schaefer. Have a great night. Coaches, break.